Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. Well, as always, I'm very excited to welcome you to yet another promising edition on the Forex Morning Mastery. In fact, our first edition for this week. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend out there, and trust you're doing very well and pumped up for another week, which promises to be another exciting one. As always, we are going to be reviewing a couple of financial instruments, which will be what we are going to be monitoring through the course of the week. And as usual, we are going to be taking on three financial assets, which includes the USOILSPOT, the GBPUSD, and of course my favorite, which is the XAUUSD. And during the course of today's session, we are going to be doing a top-down analysis on two of these assets. I already done one on the XAUUSD. For those of you who missed out on that one, the links are right in the description box below on the XAUUSD. So on the GBPUSD and USOILSPOT, we do not have any top-down analysis in public yet. So I will be doing a top-down analysis on that one, and let's see what is really going on in the market and how market participants have digested the information so far in the last 5 trading days. So I encourage us all to stay tuned in, as we do have very insightful and simple trading setup to guide our decisions for this week. And of course, let's make this exciting. Drop in the comment section your location, where you're tuning in from. Let's know what the weather is like from that part of your hand. And of course, do not forget to include in the comment section the hashtag Forex Morning Mastery, so that we can give this session a high SEO compliant platform. So I will be doing my right away, so I encourage us all to do the same. So we are going to be including hashtag Forex Morning Mastery in the comment section. Let's make the algorithm push the video to a wider audience of traders, and thank you very much, guys, for your support as you do so. So thank you very much. And that reminds me, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome on board, and I'm very excited to have you around with us this morning. It is normal for you to begin to wonder what this is all about. What is it that we're really doing here during the Forex Morning Mastery? Well, we usually come here 3 times in a week to do follow-up details on the assets we are monitoring for the week, and of course see how we can use that historical data to gain some deep insight into how market participants may likely respond to the fundamentals. And it's important for me to also mention that this platform is not considered to be a signal service platform, but instead an avenue where we come together to have a deep understanding into the market dynamics of this asset we are looking at. And trust me, the more time you spend with me in this community, the better you get to comprehend my analytical approach, which eventually you can help you to develop your independent trading decisions and strategies. So I once again welcome you all on board and encourage you to actively engage in the comment section. If you have any questions as regards to the asset we are looking at, or you have any questions as regards to the financial market, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Trust me, I'm here and willing to be of help in that regard. So my own name is Sheriff Daramola, and for the next 20-30 minutes this time around, I'll try as much as possible to wrap this up very early, because I have some important things to do behind the scenes, so I needed to make sure that we do this before I move in. So If you found the content helpful and useful, do not forget to click on that like button. It goes a long way in helping the algorithm to promote the video to a wider audience of traders. I'm not seeing any response in the comment section. Is there a lag between the timing at which I'm talking and the delivery on your own side? I'm encouraging us all to drop the Forex Morning hashtag in the comment section. Let's boost this community to a wider audience. All right, Forex Morning Mastery in the comment section. Thank you very much. So with that being said, here we will be diving right into the business, and as always, the first thing we normally do every morning is to keep tabs with the fundamental factors that will be influencing the sentiment in the market today, and of course for the first half of the week. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we tend to pinpoint potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us valuable information and, most importantly, timing to position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after this economic event. And usually we focus on high impactful event, but in days where we do not have any high impactful event, we usually include mid-tier economic features just for us to have an idea of what market participants will be looking at to make their decisions for that day. So based on the asset we are looking at for this week, that is the GBPUSD, the USOILSPOT, and the XAUUSD, we are going to be focusing on economic features from both the United States and the United Kingdom economic docket. Now, if we look at what has been going on so far, we've had a couple of events, especially from the United Kingdom. During last night, we had the right move house price index month on month and in year on year. This data here gives us an insight into the health condition of the housing sector in the United Kingdom. And of course, we all know that the housing sector is considered to be one of the most sensitive sectors in civilized economy. And due to this, it could also have a little bit of implication to market participant decision, as whatever happens here could also give a little bit of insight into what is going on in the housing sector. And usually a higher than expected figure is considered to be is considered to be considered to incite a bullish sentiment in favor of the currency of that particular economy. So in this case scenario, we are talking about the pound sterling. Now, if we look at the data that came in yesterday night, it came in at a deficit of 0.4. And if we compare it to the previous month, which was left unchanged, it shows that there has been a little bit of contraction in that sector. Then if we look at the year on year, it reduced compared to the previous one, which was at 0.6. This time around, we are looking at 0.4% expansion. So it shows that there is a little bit of contraction in that sector. So how will the GBPUSD market react to this development? Of course, we are going to be checking on the GBPUSD chart anytime soon. Then fast forward to today, Monday 15th July, we have one high impactful event today, and that is the Fed chairman speech coming up much more later in the day. I think in about 12, 13, 14 hours from now, we're going to be looking forward to the Fed chairman speech. And of course, the Fed chairman speech is a very, very significant a very, very significant event where majority in the market will definitely want to be looking forward to, as whatever it says today will be giving an insight into the economic outlook, the future monetary policy decisions, and of course the health condition of the United States economy. Now, this is coming in an era where there is a dichotomy in the market where majority are leaning towards a potential interest rate cut in the month of September and another one in the month of December. So everyone, based on the data coming in from the United States, are leaning towards an interest rate cut anytime soon. And in fact, if you look at the CME Fed Watch tool, which gives us an insight into the percentage in sentiment as regards to whether or not the Federal is going to be cutting interest rate. As at this morning, I was looking at 87% compared to last week, which was pegged at 64% in favor of an interest rate cut in September. So this has further devalued the US dollar. We saw how the dollar crashed last week due to that event. And of course, we also saw how the Japanese economy also dumped over $20 billion worth of US dollar in that regard. So things are not looking too rosy for the United States dollar. So everyone definitely wants to listen to what the Fed chairman is going to say. I'm of the opinion that he would like to give some trigger for the US dollar by saying that they are not likely going to cut interest rate anytime soon. Of course, this has been a narrative in the last couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to see what he has to say as regards to that. And then we also have a couple of other mid-tier economic features, one of which is the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index, which is coming up in about 3 to 4 hours from now. And this data here is conducted by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, and it gives us an insight into the business conditions of New York manufacturers. And generally speaking, a positive result usually indicates a bullish sentiment for the US dollar, while a negative one will definitely give us the opposite, of course. Now, if we look at the data here for the previous month, that is the month of June, it came in at a deficit of 6, which is not that impressive, shows that there is a contraction there. And for the month of July, we see economists projecting the same data, the deficit of 6. So they're expecting that that sector is continued to contract in the last 30 days. So we look forward to see what the actual data is going to be like. Will it be just as expected, below expectations, or even beyond expectation? Can it have any higher of hope for the US dollar today? Well, let's see. So this is going to be coming up in about 3 to 4 hours from now. So let's mark out this accordingly on our calendar. Then finally, later in the day, that's about 15 to 16 hours from now, we are going to be listening to the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco President Mary Daly, who is going to be having a speech then. Of course, this will also be giving us an insight into the economic outlook of the United States. And being a member of the FOMC, whatever she says today is also going to be carrying a lot of weight. She's a voting member, and we want to hear insight into the recent disinflation in the United States. Remember, the CPI data last week came in below market expectation, the PPI data too as well, and of course the consumer sentiment index wasn't very impressive too. So we also want to be listening to what she's going to be saying as regards to this, which definitely will be bringing some fresh impetus into this particular market. So these are the events we are looking forward to today. So I encourage us all to mark this out on our calendar and ensure we are around to see how the market will anticipate and react to this event. So what we are going to be doing now, as always, is to go into the chart and let's look at things from a technical standpoint. Let's see how the market participants are anticipating this event. And of course, by now, you know that the anticipation of this event usually reflect on the chart as price action and comes in form of structures and patterns, which we do want to be using to strategically position ourselves for the next move. So I see you in the comment section, Sahid. Good morning to you. I'm doing very well out here and trust you are doing very well too over there. And I'm yet to see the Forex Morning Mastery hashtag in the comment section. Please, I encourage us all to drop this in the comment section. It helps the algorithm push the video to a wider audience of traders. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. And as always, the first asset we are going to be looking at this morning is going to be the USOILSPOT. I'm yet to trigger any position today, unlike the previous week where I already have a trigger already. But at this point in time, I'm still waiting for some confirmations to happen before jumping into any position at this point. Though things are looking a little bit bullish as at this morning, as we saw the negation of that bearish momentum that started during the first 2 hours of the week, as we saw an engulfing candle happen during the Asian session, pushing price to the upside. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to go to the upside. So we need to wait for significant confirmation. Now, before we go into the technical details on the USOILSPOT, I would like us to deliberate on the fundamental factors behind the scenes, that is the market driver that has been influencing the sentiment in this market and may likely influence what is going to happen during the first half of this week. Now, at this point in time, the USOILSPOT is closer to the 1 year high. Remember, we saw price tested the $83.70 area during the course of last week trading session, and then it dropped into the $82 area, which for me is looking more like the reflection of profit taking activity ahead of the weekend, that is on Friday last week. And the question now is, how far will this momentum go? This bearish momentum go? How far will this retracement phase go before another wave of bullish momentum will happen? Now, while we are looking into this, we also want to understand what is driving the sentiment. Now, the first concern that we need to look at is the supply concern in the global market of the USOILSPOT. Now, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East continues to support crude oil prices due to supply disruption worries. The possibility of supply disruption is really concerning to market participants, and as a result of this has driven the price of oil to the upside. Then another factor that is going to be influencing the sentiment in the market this week, or has been influencing, let me say, is the US dollar market dynamic. Now, the emergence of the recent disinflation data, that is the US CPI data coming in below market expectation, has of course triggered the idea that Federal Reserve may likely start cutting interest rate anytime soon, which usually favors commodity assets like the oil. Remember, the USOILSPOT is a US dollar denominated asset, and whatever happens to the US dollar will definitely influence the trajectory of the price of USOILSPOT. Now, how is that possible? Well, for those of you who have been with me for a while now, I've usually talked about this countless of times, but I know there are newcomers amongst us who really do not have an insight into this. So let me simply put this. Considering the fact that the USOILSPOT is a US dollar denominated asset, for other countries, for other currency assets to buy the USOILSPOT, they would need to convert their local currency to the US dollar before they can buy the USOILSPOT. Now, if the value of the US dollar is dropping, then what this simply means is that it is cheaper for other currency assets to buy the US dollar, giving them the opportunity and privilege to buy more oil. So what simply happens is that when the dollar's value is reducing, the chances that the demand for oil will increase is high. And when this happens, our simple economics tells us that the price usually rises. Now, with that being said, the path of least resistance for oil at this point is still looking very, very bullish. Then another factor that could influence the USOILSPOT this week is the Chinese economy, which hasn't been doing very well in recent time. Recently, we had the fuel demand in China, which surfaced and showed that the country's Q2 economic growth is reported at 4.7%, with retail sales and fixed asset investment missing the market expectation, which is not something that impressive. Now, considering China to be the largest importer of crude oil in the world, everyone is always looking to the Chinese economy to see how well it is doing, because if the economy is not doing very well, it is likely that the Chinese economy will reduce the demand for oil, which could also influence the performance of the global demand. So that also is also in play. Then at this point in time, it is very prudent for us to wait for strong follow through buying or selling opportunities before positioning for any trajectory either to the upside or to the downside. But if you would ask me from a personal and instinctively perspective, I still think that the path of least resistance is bullish on the US oil spot. But which route is it going to take? Are we going to see a little bit of retracement before the uptrend continuation happens, or will there be any form of uptrend continuation formation to help us join the uptrend move? Now, to look at things from a technical standpoint, let's begin with the holistic perspective. Let's run through the higher time frame. Let's see what is really going on there. And to do this, my first point of contact for this week was basically on the 4 hours time frame, where I took into consideration the character of price action since the month of June, and that's an historical data of about 6 to 7 weeks now. And it is quite obvious that since the beginning of the month of June, price action had consistently and uniformly found higher highs and higher lows. And if we connect the series of higher lows here, we have a temporary ascending trend line right here, as you will see. And after projecting this one, I have a major trend line right here at this point. So for me, if you look at this closely, it shows that buyers are getting stronger. At every point in time price comes into this trend line, we see emergence of buying pressure pushing price to the upside. And you do know how we use our ascending trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the ascending trend line, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that support the idea of buying that asset. Now, the only condition that will make us sell is for this ascending trend line to be breached and broken to the downside. And considering the fact that price is still trading above the ascending trend line, it makes a lot of sense for us to continue to look out for buying opportunities. Now, in order to navigate the structure for this week, we usually look out for key levels. Now, these key levels usually serve as a yardstick guiding our trading activity for that particular week. And whenever price breaks above the key level, we want to be looking out for buying opportunities. But if selling pressure persists below the key level, then we want to start considering selling. Now, if we look at what has been going on in this market since the second half of the month of June, it is quite clear that the market has been consolidating, confined within the $80.50 level and the $84.50 area to emphasize the prevailing uncertainty since price tested that new high at the $84.12 level. Now, we have a range bound structure, and you know how we treat our range bound structure. Whenever price is within the range, we wait for either the breakout or breakdown for signals to either buy or sell. Now, within this range bound structure, I have my key level duly situated at the $82.50 level. Now, if you look at this $82.50 level, you will see that since the beginning of this month, it has played a significant role in determining the direction of price action. Look at what happened here at the end of last month. We saw it was a strong selling niche as it pushed price to the downside. Then at the beginning of this month, we saw our price broke out of that structure. And for a couple of weeks, this area was a strong demand zone. And not until last week, we saw price break down the structure. It served as a selling niche for a while before price broke out again. And look at what is happening right now. Price is back into that level. So for me, this level here is going to be serving as a determinant factor if we are going to be buying or selling this week. Now, to navigate the structure, I want to see how the market has been reacting to this key level since the new week has begun. Are there signs that price will climb back above this key level to continue the uptrend, or is there a chance that sellers will maintain bearish pressure below the structure to incite signals for selling opportunity? Now, let's scale down into the 1 hour time frame where we begin to see things much more clearly. Now, scaling down into the 1 hour time frame, you will see here that events is gradually unfolding in such a way that buyers are beginning to have a say in this market. Now, after taking into consideration what has been going on since the beginning of this week, that is the last how many hours now? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours. Price action has been confined within the $82.55 level and the $81.58 area. It's an approximately a $1 range bound structure we are looking at right now. And you know how we treat our range bound structure. Whenever price action is within a range, we usually exercise patience and wait for price action to make a directional decision, which usually comes in the form of either the breakdown of the support line giving us an opportunity to sell, or the breakdown of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy. And one thing you will notice within this consolidation phase is the nature of price action within this area, one of which is the ascending trend line, which slices through this consolidation phase, as you will see here. And of course, you can see that price is yet to break down that ascending trend line we identified on the 4 hours time frame. Then secondly, another thing I also noticed within this range bound structure is the emergence of a higher low. And whenever we notice higher low in the market, what does it tell us? It tells us that the buyers are gradually gaining momentum behind the scenes. Now look at this. This is the previous low, as you will see here, and the second attempt by sellers to break down the previous low appeared to have failed at this point in time, giving us a higher low to work with. And if we take into consideration the bearish impulse leg that brought us into this point, you will begin to see something that looks like a double bottom structure, which from a theoretical standpoint is considered to be a strong reversal pattern. Now, will this pattern validate itself to give us an opportunity to join an uptrend scenario? Well, we need the neckline of this reversal pattern to be breached and broken to the upside, where a retest of structure will be a beautiful confirmation that price will continue the momentum to the upside. Now, if we look at the structure closely, where do you think the neckline of this reversal pattern could be? Well, it appears that it's going to be right below our key level at the $82.50 level. So we are looking at somewhere around the $82.40 level. So for me, to be on the safer side, I will still maintain my key level at the $82.50 area, placing a buy stop order above the structure to capitalize on the uptrend move. So with the way things are going right now, and considering the character of price action in the last 11 hours, I still think that price will continue to the upside. And since price is still sitting above that ascending trend line too. So looking out for buying opportunities above the structure makes a lot of sense. And please ensure you have your stop losses wide enough to capture any volatility that could happen in this market as we continue to monitor price action. So I'm looking at between 60 to 65 pips stop loss on this one, or 60 to 70 pips. Let's give enough breathing space for price action to move around if we get triggered at the breakout of the key level. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity, you know how we do it in this community. We also want to keep tabs with the potentials that sellers can also come in at any point in time. Now, in this case scenario, what are the conditions we want to see on this chart that will make us feel comfortable to negate the bullish idea and cling onto the bearish expectation? Well, You all know how we treat our range bound structure. We do want to see the support line here breached and broken to the downside before we can start considering selling. However, if we consider the ascending trend line on this chart, it could give us an early opportunity to join the decline if we ever have a breakdown retest of structure. Now, mind what I'm saying here. For us to join a sell, we will need a confirmation to happen, like a retest of structure. The reason is simply because this is an uptrend continuation structure, and a breakdown of the ascending trend line at any point in time may not necessarily mean a signal to join a sell. It could turn out to be a false breakdown, so we will need to see some follow-through signal that truly sellers are going to be taking over, and this will reflect on the chart as a breakdown, then a retest of structure in our lower time frame where we see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the trend line, and this would reflect on the chart as continued selling pressure below the trend line. Then we can join a sell move and then have a sell stop order below the $81.58 level to continue the decline to the downside. I personally doubt this will happen, but if it does happen, let's be on standby to capitalize on this opportunity. So this is my simple view on the US All Spot for today. Our center of focus is basically between the $82.55 level and the $81.58 area, where depending on the breakout or breakdown of the structure will give us an idea of where price is likely going, at least for the first half of this week. So this is my simple view. I don't know if you have any questions. If you do, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. Trust me, I'm here and willing to be of help in that regard. So as always, I will be taking the next 10-15 seconds off. Let's see if there are any questions before we move on to the next asset on our watch list. So pending the time, stay tuned in, and do not forget to click on the like button if you have found this content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decisions. And that also reminds me, you can use that opportunity to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. See you in about 10-15 seconds. Cheers. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page. I see you, Adelo Adeniro. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. I also see you, Warren Barr. Good morning to you too. Trust we all had a wonderful weekend. So with that being said, here we will be diving right into the next asset on our watch list. So stay tuned in, guys. So the next asset we are going to be looking at today is the GBPUSD, that is the British pounds against the US dollar. And the GBPUSD is one of the most successful trades for us last week, as we did had a significant movement in price action in our favor. Remember, we were buying the GBPUSD throughout last week, as we were able to scoop in over approximately over 250 pips of profit on this particular asset through the multiple entries we did capitalize on. And of course, we saw how the pound sterling took advantage of a weaker US dollar to ride a momentum all the way into the 1.29900 area. I think this is the highest level price action has been for this particular year. And for those of us who are part of last week's profitable journey, well done and kudos to you guys. So as we head into the new week, what are the chances that this momentum is going to continue? Are we likely going to see some profit-taking activity at the beginning of this week that could incite a retracement move into structure before the continuation happens? Or are we going to be seeing an uptrend continuation pattern that will incite more buying opportunities for us today? Well, to answer this question, we do want to have an insight into the market driver that are influencing the sentiment in this market. And one of the major drivers here is the Federal Reserve outlook, which I did talk about earlier. Despite this morning, we saw some US dollar modest recovery, which could be some profit-taking activity actually, but the expectation that the Federal Reserve will soon start cutting interest rate may continue to act as a headwind for the US dollar, hereby favoring the ascent of the pound sterling. And like I did tell you earlier, the Fed Watch tool, the CME group tool, indicates over 87% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut in September and another possible cut in the month of December, especially following the softer than expected US CPI data that came in last week. So we look forward to what the Fed chairman is going to say, especially after the CPI data came in, and this will also be giving us an insight into what is likely going to happen in this market. Then another factor behind the scenes that is influencing or favoring the pound sterling is the Bank of England's prospects. Now, the British pound is supported by diminishing odds of the Bank of England not cutting interest rate anytime soon due to the better than expected economic figures we saw from the United Kingdom last week. Remember, we talked about the preliminary GDP report, which came in higher than market expectation, as we saw the United Kingdom economy record a 0.4% expansion, higher than market expectation, higher than the previous month data, which is a very good signal that the economy is still very resilient at this point. Now, this suggests caution before assuming any near-time top for the GBPUSD, and so any form of decline in this market needs some follow-through signal or significant confirmation before we can consider selling this asset based on this data. Then another factor is the political uncertainty in the United States. Yesterday we saw the attack on the former US President Donald Trump, a failed assassination, which of course has driven some concerns as regards to the US dollar. And I think this is not going to be a good influence for the US dollar at this particular point in time, as we may see major key players bring their funds from the US dollar and put it in other safe haven assets. So this is a very likely possibility that we cannot ignore too as well. Then the major events coming up this week too as well will serve as a key significant factor influencing the sentiment in this market. I talked about the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index coming up in about 3 hours from now. I talked about the Fed chairman's speech coming up later later today. This is also going to be giving us some short-term trading ideas on this particular asset. Now, pending the time we wait for this event to happen, let's have a deep insight into how the behavioral patterns of market participants in this market so far and how they are likely going to be anticipating this event coming in for this week. Now, for us to have an insight into the details here, let's scale up into the 4 hours time frame. Now, because I did not share my public idea on the GBPUSD for this week, so I will be doing a top-down analysis on this asset for us all, and let's use this data here to make an informed decision. So I think my first point of contact for this week is on the daily time frame, and as you will see right now, price is at a year high. This is the first time price is testing the 1.29900 area. And at this point, what will be the chances that the momentum will continue? So looking at the structure here, and after taking into consideration the character of price action in the last 12 months, so I was looking at between July of last year till now, and this is what I was able to come up with. Now, at this point in time, you will see we have a psychological level, the 1.300 area. That is where price action was last year July. So we saw price at the 1.300 area, and right now you can see that price is gradually approaching that same area. So it's ironical that after 12 months, exactly the month of July, price is back into that particular area. Now, if we look at the memory within this zone, let's go back to July last year. Look at what happened when price tested this area in July last year. We saw a massive sell-off from that particular area. So this area at this point in time can be considered to be a strong selling niche in this market. And of course, it's a very crucial area where, depending on how market reacts to this area, will determine how we are going to be trading. Are we going to be buying from this area or getting ready to sell again, just like it did last year? Now, besides this structure, here are a couple of levels. Before I go into that, let's acknowledge the fact that since the beginning of this year, the momentum has been very bullish. So we had the bullish momentum since October last year, giving us this ascending trend line. And when we look at what happened since the month of April of this year, we saw a deviation from the previous momentum, as you will see here, as we saw another surge in price, giving us an idea into how strong the buyers are at this point in time. Now, with the situation we have right now, we need a key level that will guide our decision for this week. Now, my key level for this week is going to be at the 1.28 area, a level which has been significant since the beginning of this year. And in fact, this level has been a strong selling niche also. Look at what has been happening since the month of December last year. Every attempt by buyers to break out of the structure had failed at every point in time. Look at what has been happening here. Continuous selling pressure happen around that area. Every time buyers try to break out, we see sellers come in, pushing price to the downside. And this happened into last month. Buyers were trying to break out, but it failed. But finally, we saw a breakout happen last week, Thursday, as you will see here. And thank goodness we were able to capitalize on that opportunity. And from a theoretical standpoint, when price breaks out of a key structure such as this one, there is the chance that price could come back and retest the structure in an attempt to continue the uptrend move. And look at how beautiful the ascending trend line here shares a confluence with that key level at the 1.28 to support the uptrend continuation if ever price action comes into that area. So going into this week, we are at a dilemma right now, as we need to see how the market is going to react to the structure. Are we going to see a retracement down into this area, which will be dovetailing to a minimum of about 200 pips to catch if price finds buy pressure on the ascending trend line, or more if it breaks down that particular structure? Or are we going to see a trend continuation pattern form around this area to incite the breakout of the 1.300 level to incite more buying opportunities. So you can see that we are at a crucial juncture where we want to see how market participants have been behaving around this area since the new week has begun. So with that said, we will need to scale down into a lower time frame, our execution time frame, which is the one. Before we go into the 1 hour time frame, let's run through the 4 hours time frame first of all. Now on the 4 hours time frame here, I saw this ascending channel, which for me could also be a major influence in helping us understand how market participants are behaving. So I have the resistant line of this ascending channel right here, as you will see, after connecting the series of higher highs. And if you look at this structure here, you will see that price is back into that resistant line. And since price tested the resistant line there, you can see selling pressure resume around that area, which begs the question, are we likely going to be seeing some selling pressure resume from this area, or price will break out of that structure? Then we have the support line of this ascending channel right here, which lines up with the 1.280 area. So if we see any form of, let's say, double top structure, form of reversal pattern here, it could incite a sell-off back into the structure in anticipation of the uptrend move. And of course, we want to be on standby to capitalize on that move. So we are at a crucial juncture really, and let's exercise patience and let's see what will happen here. Now, when we scale down into the 1 hour time frame, things now becomes a little bit more clearer. So at this point, I do have a buy position triggered already, as I noticed a range bound structure during the early hours of today. After considering the character of price action for the last 6, 7, 8 hours now, I saw this all price started around the 1.29845. So we have a range bound structure. We have the 1.29620 and the 1.29845 prices confined within this range. And of course, when we have a range bound structure like this, we exercise patience, wait for the market to either break out of the resistant line for an opportunity to buy, or break down the support line for an opportunity to sell. Now, if we look at the character of the candlesticks around the support line of this range bound structure, you will see something interesting happen here. We can see multiple hammer candles around this area. In fact, in the last couple of hours as well, you see multiple hammer candles. And whenever we see an hammer candle, theoretically speaking, it tells us that buyers are still present in this market, hereby welcoming the idea that the momentum could still continue to the upside. So as a result of this, and with this observation here, I decided to place a buy stop order above the resistant line of that range bound structure, had a 1.29845, and it got triggered at this point. Then another buy stop order above the 1.29910 level. That was the highest point price action got to last week, and if it gets broken, we are going to be adding more buy positions to our existing trade. Now, there is one thing I would like to state here. Remember, according to what we saw on the daily time frame, we did acknowledge that that area around the 1.2991 and the 1.300 psychological level has been a strong selling niche. Remember what happened around that area last year, where sellers came in to negate bullish attempt. It is very, very likely that this could also happen this week. So we cannot ignore the potentials that sellers can also come in. In fact, we could get taken out of that buy position in a loss. So we should get our mind ready for this expectation. So despite the fact that we are looking out for buying opportunities, we cannot ignore the potential that sellers can also come in. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities, what are the chances that sellers could come in here? And what are the things we look out for to consider selling this asset? Now, the only thing that will make me sell this asset is for the support line here, an area which has been characterized by buying pressure since the beginning of this week. I needed to get breached and broken to the downside, after which I want to start considering selling the GBP USD. And then remember, our TP target will be around the support line of that ascending channel we identified on the 4 hours time frame, which I said earlier is dovetailing to about 200 pips thereabout. So let's see how the market is going to play out around this area. And for any buy position around this area, let's have enough breathing space for our stop losses. So I'm looking at between 15 to 20 pips stop loss on the buy position on the GBP USD. So let's see how this is going to play out in the next couple of hours. Trust me, I'm here and willing to be of help in that regard. I will be dropping updates on both my TradingView and Telegram platform as at when due. So this is my simple view on the GBP USD for today. I hope I made myself very clear. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as always, I will be taking the next 10-15 seconds off. Let's see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move right into the final assets on our watch list for today. Stay tuned in, guys, and see you soon. All right. So I see you, Mansour. Good morning to you. Good morning, Wesley Chizenga. Trust you're doing very well out there, and glad to have you guys around with us this morning. Yet to see your likes in the YouTube platform. Here we have only 5 likes and we have over 12 people on board. Please, if you have found this content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decisions, kindly support me, inspire me to do more, and support the algorithm, pushing the video to a wider audience of traders who may find the content beneficial. And the only way you can do this is by clicking on the like button and then dropping the hashtag Forex Morning Mastery in the comment section. And thank you very much, guys, as you do so. And for those of you who had clicked on the like button, I really appreciate your support from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. So in the absence of no questions, I want to take this as a confirmation that we are all on the same page, and in that regard we will be moving into the final asset on our watch list for this week. So the final asset on our watch list for this week is my favorite asset amongst them all, and that is the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And in fact, what an interesting situation we have this morning as price action is beginning to price action is starting the week on a weaker note. As we saw here, the week started with a bearish momentum. Price started around the $2,415 area, as you will see here. Then it dropped into the 2,404, 2,405 area, as you will see here, before another wave of bullish momentum is gradually evolving at this point in time. Well, if you I already done a top-down analysis on the XAUUSD from the daily to the 4 hours time frame, so I wouldn't be going into those time frame on this one. So we're just going to be deliberating on the 1 hour time frame. And if in any way you missed out on that video, I have it right in the description box of this current video you're watching. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to this point, how we identify the major trend, the key levels we are going to be using for this week, and the structural patterns that will be guiding our decision on lower time frame, then I encourage you to watch that video after the end of this session. So now, going into today's session, we have a simple trading setup evolve on the chart right now. And in fact, despite the bearish momentum that started this week, I'm of the opinion that this bearish momentum cannot last because of the various factors behind the scenes, which I did mention earlier. One of which is the expectation that the Fed will cut interest rate as soon as September, and this may limit the US dollar gain, the US dollar rebound that we were seeing during the Asian session this morning. So it is very, very important that if we are going to be considering selling the XAUUSD today or any time during the course of this week, we need to see some significant confirmation or strong sell-through confirmations before jumping into any bearish momentum. And when I say confirmation, I want to see price breakdown, retest of the structure where we see continued selling pressure below the structure after being retested on our lower time frame, be it 5, 10 or 15 minutes time frame, before jumping into the sell position. So at this point in time, market participants' expectation of a rate cut is likely going to prevent the US dollar from fully capitalizing on that modest recovery we saw during the Asian session. Then furthermore, the US political uncertainty, including the alleged assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump on Sunday, is also going to be a major factor that could support safe haven asset, as majority will like to, due to this uncertainty, may want to pull out their capital from the US dollar currency assets into a non-yielding interest asset such as gold. Then we also have the Chinese economic woes, which I did talk about during the USOILSPOT analysis, which also could influence the positive outlook for the XAUUSD. Now, given this development behind the scenes, how are we navigating the structure today? Well, if we look at what has been going on in the last 12 hours since this new week has begun, you see we have a range-bound structure to work with, as price action has been confined within the $2,415 level and the $2,404.50 area, to emphasize the prevailing uncertainty as at the beginning of this week. Now, with this situation in mind, it is reasonable that we exercise patience and wait for price action to either break down the support line for selling opportunities, and like I told you earlier, we will need a retest of structure to happen before we can start considering selling. Then we can sell the breakdown of our key level for this week, which is situated at the 2,390. Let me retract this one so that we can see it clearly. So I will just retract it a little bit so it can be within the screen. All right, so we have the 2,390, which is our key level for this week right here, adding more sell positions to the existing trade if that is what the market presents to us. Now, besides that, we also have an area above the 2,415, which is going to be a good area to buy this asset. So we need price to break out of the 2,415, a breakout of the structure, beautiful opportunity to buy. So placing a buy stop order above the structure makes a lot of sense, and then we look out for more opportunities to buy at the breakout of the 2,425. So as we continue to monitor price action, I will definitely be giving us updates on both my TradingView and Telegram platform as at when due. And that reminds me, we are going to be kickstarting the Go Gold challenge that I did mention on Friday, where I want to, based on the comments I saw in the last couple of months as regards to managing small size accounts. So we are going to be challenging ourselves. I want to put myself in that shoe, and let's see how we can make it, how far we can take a $200 account size. So with that regard, I initiated a members YouTube members pack, which you all are aware of. The link is right in the description box below. Join the membership with a token, and then let's be part of the session, and let's monitor a $200 account. I will be kickstarting the session in about 2-3 hours from now. I have some private run-ins to do, so I might start a little bit late, but within 3 hours I will be back in that session, and you will see me live trading gold, a $200 worth of gold account, and let's see how far we can push it. And you also have the privilege of asking me anything during the course of that session. You can ask me anything as regards to any other asset of your choice, though I wouldn't be trading those assets. I will only be focusing on gold, but you can ask me any trading idea for any trading ideas on other financial instruments of your choice. So it's a great opportunity to be part of the family, and let's see how things will go out. So to join, the link right in the description box of this current video. Click on that link and then join so you can be part of that session. So if you have any questions as regards to my analysis here on the XAUUSD, feel free to drop them in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 5-10 seconds off. Let's see if there are any questions before we move on to end today's Forex Morning Mastery session. Okay, so I see a comment here from Sahid Nasir. Good morning to you. So Sahid here is saying that gold will break 2,450 due to DXY weakness, that is the US dollar index weakness this week due to political tensions. Please elaborate this. What do you think about this? Well, that's a good observation if you would ask me, and I personally don't like the word will, because no one knows where the market is going except for the fact that we only use the edge we have to navigate the current market dynamics we are. So in as much as we expecting a bullish expectations, we cannot ignore the potential that sellers can come in. The market can do whatever it likes at any point in time. Our duty as a retail trader is to be on standby to capitalize on whatever opportunity the market is presenting to us. Now, that being said, if you would ask me, the path of least resistance for gold is still looking very bullish based on the various factors I did mention earlier, from the Fed interest rate cuts decision, which I did talk about, the Chinese economic woes, the uncertainty, the political uncertainty in the United States, and of course the Fed speech that is coming up later today, all of which are going to be playing a significant role in driving the price of gold to the upside. Now, after acknowledging the fact that the path of least resistance for gold is to the upside, no one knows what path is going to take, what route is going to take. Is it going to retrace first before it continues the uptrend move, or is it going to form an uptrend continuation pattern before it goes to the upside? So no one knows, and the only way we can know is to exercise patience and use the structures we have on the chart to help us understand how market participants are thinking, so we can position ourselves strategically to capitalize on that opportunity. And I guess that's the purpose of the session, for us to identify levels and areas where it is comfortable to either buy or sell this asset. And like I did mention earlier, our center of focus for today is basically going to be between the 2,415 and the $2,404.50 level. We are depending on the direction of the breakout that will decide if we are going to be buying or selling. So the most appropriate thing to do right now is to exercise patience and position ourselves within the support line of the range bound structure for buying opportunity, for selling opportunity, and within the resistant line of the range bound structure for buying opportunity. So that is how we are going to be navigating the structure today. So it's a simple setup. Let's use this. I encourage us all to mark out these levels and structures on our chart, as we will be needing them as a reference point to guide our decisions today. So it's on this note, I guess there are no more questions. You're very much welcome, Said. I love you too. All right, so with that being said here, I think we have come to the end of today's Forex Morning Mastery. It has been a wonderful moment with you guys. I really enjoyed every single moment. You guys are wonderful. I love the energy in the house this morning. And though I'm yet to see your likes tally with the number of people on board, we only have 6 likes, and then we have over 12 people on board. I guess some of us did not click on the like button, or probably it escaped our mind. Please do so. This is one of the ways you can actually support this community to grow, and of course support me and inspire me to do more of the session. So thank you very much, guys, as you do so. And it's on this note we call it a day on today's Forex Morning Mastery. We were able to take on all the 3 financial assets on our watch list, which includes the USOILSPOT, the GBPUSD, and of course the XAUUSD. And interesting enough, we were able to identify simple trading setups that we are going to be using to navigate this current market dynamics today. So I do hope we all marked out these levels accordingly. If you have done them, well done to you. So all we need to do right now is exercise patience and allow the structures to mature. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I do hope you are able to gain 1 or 2 things. If you have done so, well done, kudos to you. And so let's see more of you same time on Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. UTC and 9:30 a.m. West African time, as we come here again to review how well these assets have been doing, and of course prepare ourselves for the midweek session. And always remember that every decision we make in the financial market is more or less an educated guess until price action hits your TP target. So with this understanding in mind, you do want to be having a well-defined risk management strategy in place to secure your position against any sudden pullback. So it's on this note I want to wish us all the best of luck today, and looking forward to seeing you during the Go challenge, where we shall be looking at how far we can push a $200 account to its limit. So looking forward to seeing you guys. The link to the Go challenge is right in the description box below. Click on that link, register, and let's have a nice time monitoring the gold. So it's on this note I wish us all the best of luck. Trade smart, trade consciously, and do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye.